everyone, welcome to the final episode of Road to MUN presented by MTS. In this video, we'll be discussing about some tricks and tips that can help anyone to win the best delegate. So here are a few. Number 1. Impact and engagement. MUN executive board members are লক্ষ্য করবে কমিটিতে আপনার impact কতটুকু. And to be impactful, you need to be engaged in all the committee procedures and actions. However, just engaged হওয়া মানে does not necessarily mean you are impactful. For example, আপনি যদি প্রতিটি GSL এবং moderated caucus speech দেন, what it would mean is that you are very engaged in the committee, right? But then your speeches will not be impactful if you are saying the same things over and over again, or if your speeches lack good content. On the other hand, আপনি যদি একটা good speech দেন, but then you do not engage in other procedural actions, the delegates will not take you seriously, and hence you won't be able to influence the committee proceedings either. So what do we have to do? আমাদের impactful হওয়া লাগবে, engaged থাকা লাগবে. And to do that, you need to take up the role of the leader of the committee. And the moment in time you can do that, that is grab everyone's attention and make them do what you want, that is when the award is practically in your hands. So how do we do that? For your speeches to be impactful, আপনার জানা লাগবে why this agenda was given in the first place. Don't waste your speeches on reciting history and past events. Everyone knows that. To make your speeches special and to stand out from other delegates in the committee, what you need to talk about is solutions, and I repeat, solutions. Obviously, আপনার first executive speech will be on your country stance and the general status quo and everything, right? But এরপর স্পিচগুলো থেকে please focus on solutions, because this is a trap যেখানে even অনেক experienced delegatesরাও পড়ে যায়. Instead of focusing on the measures taken and the flaws of those measures, why they aren't working or are working, how to improve them, what they do is just keep on blaming each other back and forth on the status quo. And what happens at the end of the day is that they realize they do not have enough solutions to make good DR. Number 2. Documentation. Documentation is probably the most heavily marked segments of MUN, and over which draft resolution takes the utmost importance. এখানে purpose is not only to present it but also to make sure it passes, because আপনি যদি একটা draft resolution present করেন and if it is not passed, it looks bad, right? It looks like you're losing out on diplomacy marks. You cannot lobby people well. But then again, draft resolution is also the part where you have the highest chances of making or breaking your foreign policy. Because especially if you are a sponsor and you are presenting a draft resolution, you are responsible for each and every word and each and every punctuation mark that goes into the draft resolution. And after it is presented, make sure you think very, very carefully before rejecting or accepting changes in the amendment session. Because if there is a high number of unfriendly amendments in your draft resolution, it can just result in it being scrapped. Now, I know অনেকেই আপনাকে বলবে যে lobbying everyone is the key to making sure your DR passes, but it's not always possible, right? Especially if, let's say, there is an agenda on the Russia-Ukraine conflict and you are Russia. Your country's stance is so extremist that at this point in time, there is possibly no neutral ground to which you could settle to, right, without breaking your foreign policy. So what can you do there? If you are not presenting a draft resolution, you're not getting documentation marks for it. But if you are presenting it, then your marks get deducted for diplomatic behavior to some extent. So what you can do in this case instead is make a neutral draft resolution. Make someone else a sponsor. Make sure that person presents it to the committee and it gets passed. The EBs know you made it, you get the marks for it, and all the while your foreign policy remains intact. Number 3. Send cheats. Many assume that MUN is all about being vocal and raising good points of information. However, points of information শুধু GSL ask করা যায়, and only if there is time remaining after the delegate speech. And even then, if there are too many points of questions being asked, there is a very high chance that you might not be recognized by the dais. So what then? What about the other speeches? What if the delegate says something controversial or something against your country? So what you need to do is send cheats. In many advanced MUN committees, what happens is that the most interesting, confidential and manipulative conversations are the ones that happen via cheats under the EB supervision. And also, sending cheats is the way to adopt if you are aiming to breach someone else's foreign policy, because now you have written proof that they did or said something that goes against their foreign policy. Number 4. Never let down your guard even in unmoderated caucus. অনেকেই মনে করে যে সিন্স আনমডারেটেড ককাস ইজ অ্যান ইনফর্মাল সেশন, যেখানে তেমন কোনো রুলস ফলো করা হয় না, এমনকি মাঝে মাঝে ইভেন ইবিজরাও রুমে থাকে না, you can take a break and chill. You are wrong. You're completely wrong, because unmoderated caucus is probably the most strategic time of an MUN, and this is the place from where you get the most marks on diplomatic behavior. As a delegate, you must use it wisely. This is the time for you to negotiate and lobby people, to form blocks, to find signatories to vote on your draft resolutions, etc., etc. So be careful how you spend on your draft moderated caucus time with. And last but not the least, number 5, diplomatic behavior. Please remember at all times that whatever you do, you must do it diplomatically, because you cannot be rude to anyone, you cannot threaten anyone, you cannot bully anyone, and please, in any case, do not harass anyone, because even if diplomatic behavior wasn't marked, which it is, the moment you are not behaving nicely or politely to others, they won't like you. And if your committee members don't like you, they won't vote for you, and none of what you do matters. And that's all for today's video. Make sure to follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. MUN related যে কোনো questions বা problems থাকলে mail করুন নিচে দেয়া email address. Till then, goodbye.